Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Juan's World, and I am going to continue my series on Pachumbin today, but slightly sideways. I'm probably going to show you some images as I'm talking, just so that you don't have to see a talking head all the time. Maybe see some pictures of pagodas and so forth, because I've been to 4 now in the course of 10 days. This is the 10th day of Pachumbin. So I've been to 4 pagodas in 10 days, and I'm going to go to some more later in the week. Friday, Saturday, and Monday are public holidays in Cambodia. Because Sunday is a day off, they don't give you a public holiday on your day off anyway. But Sunday is the last day, technically, like the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And on those days I will be going to pagodas, but I may also go Thursday, I'm not sure. I'll certainly by Friday be giving you more videos of my visits to various pagodas and the different ways in which the pagodas celebrate. But for now, I want to talk about karma, because Pachumbin is about karma. It's about doing things that bring merit to the individual. Now, the question is, what is merit? Why do you need it? And how does it relate to karma? Okay, let's get into that. Now, what I also need to do at some point is to make a comparison between the ways in which the concept of merit, or we could, in Christian terms, we would talk about good works or good deeds. And in Christianity, there's a strong theology that is batted about constantly as to the point of good deeds. So I'll get into that in a minute, but let me just start off with karma. Now, karma is a philosophy that comes ultimately from Hinduism. And it spread, obviously, to Buddhism, because Buddhism is a descendant of Hinduism. It also extended into Jainism and Sikhism. And you'll find it even in Taoism. I mean, like it's a concept that's fairly common all across Asian religions. Let's start with the Hindu concept. One of the oldest references to karma is in the Upanishads, which are the scriptures of Hinduism. And it's very simple, it's like alarmingly simple. The Upanishads say, if you do good things, you become a good person. And if you do bad things, you become a bad person. Well, okay, that's understandable, and it makes a lot of sense. And it doesn't require some kind of mysticism or force of the universe. It's just, constantly practice doing good deeds, and you will be transformed into a person that is a good person. And if you constantly do bad things, then you'll be an evil person. I don't see any problem with that. Right? That's the foundational principle from Hinduism. But then you have to ask the question, well, why should I be a good person? I mean, all right, I do good things and I become a good person. And if I do bad things, I become an evil person. But so what? I mean, like, bad people do a lot of evil things, and they make money, they you know, they get successful and so forth. So what's the benefit of doing good things? That's where karma comes in. And in the world outside of Asia, karma tends to be thought of in terms of this life. You know, like if I do good things, then in this life I will be rewarded. And if I do bad things, then I will be punished in this life. Well, that's not really what karma is all about. I mean, it is and it isn't, if I can put it that way. That is, you know, the original text from the Upanishads. Like, if I'm a good person, then I will be rewarded with being. I mean, sorry, if I do good deeds, I'll be rewarded by being a good person in this life. Yeah, well, all right, but that's not quite the point. The point is that all of these religious traditions, and I'm going to just focus more on Buddhism for the moment here, is that they believe in a cycle of birth and rebirth. So you die, and then you're reborn as something or someone else. I mean, you could be reborn as an animal or an insect or another person, and that other person could be all kinds of things. Well, if you watch K-drama at all, you'll see a sort of a folk version of this. That is, that good people, after stellar lives, go to a committee of heavenly beings who decide, okay, you've been a good person, so we're going to make you the daughter of a very wealthy businessman. No, you've been a bad person, we're going to make you a dung beetle, and so on. Well, it doesn't really work quite that way when you analyze the theology more particularly. But that's kind of the realm that we're thinking about. That is, the reason that you build up good karma over your life is so that you will improve to a better life in the coming life. And the ultimate goal is to get better and better, sort of like climbing a ladder, until ultimately you're able to escape the birth and rebirth cycle as you reach a critical point where you are fully enlightened. You are Buddha, right? So that's the point. The point is not to do good things in this life to get rewards in this life, but to keep on improving your status through the cycles. And merit can come in just about any fashion, but during Puchumben, then the main merit that you can receive is by bringing food to the pagoda, theoretically to feed your dead ancestors, but in practice to feed the monks who act as the intermediaries between you and your dead ancestors. And in addition, I mean, there's obviously way too much food each day, really, for the monks, so that they distribute the surplus to the poor. So that you're doing both. You're feeding your ancestors, hypothetically. You're feeding the monks in reality, and you're also feeding the poor. And everyone knows that. And they bring a lot of food. They portion it out. The monks have bowls for different kinds of food that you take out of your containers and portion out, and then you get blessed by the monks for your contribution. And people typically go to at least 3 pagodas during the season. Some go to more, some go to fewer, of course. I mean, some go to none. but 3 is a fairly round number. Usually on days off, of course. So like Sunday's a very busy day. And as I'm talking here, I'm probably going to show you some pictures of this last Sunday that when I went to one of the nearby pagodas, but then other days when I visited. And everyone, like, it's a very happy time. People, as the Khmer love to do, taking photographs of each other, taking photographs in front of the pagoda, taking photographs of the family all together and so forth. It's a fun time, and there are places to sit where you can eat. So not so much now, but next weekend I'm hoping that I can get hold of what's called Nom An Som. And I'll also see if I can show you a picture here. It's sticky rice, and the sweet version has bananas in it, and the savory version of it has pork in it, and it's the rice plus a filling wrapped in banana leaves and steamed. Very nice, and I'll try to get hold of some as the week goes on. And people take Nom An Som to the pagoda, along with their food contributions, and they'll give the contributions to the monks, and then they'll sit at a table and have something to eat as a family. And there are vendors there also with things to eat and drinks, and so different pagodas have different numbers. Again, I'll see if I can show you Pochintong Pagoda, which is the closest one to me, which has 20 places where you can buy drinks. Not so much food, but drinks. So you bring your food and you buy a drink and you sit down as a family. And I did that last year. I haven't done it this year. Because last year I went with somebody, and so we were able to sit down and talk and be like normal people. I don't have anyone to go with this year, so we'll see. All right, but now let's just think about this in relation to Christianity, because Christianity has a struggle with the idea of merit, there's good works. And that's a struggle between Paul and the Epistle of James. And Paul says that salvation comes by grace. And that's it. Now, how do you get grace? Well, it's just happens chance. God decides. You got grace, you don't. Very Calvinistic, it seems to me. Like, you are destined for salvation, you have grace. You're not destined for salvation, you don't have grace. It's not a great theology. But what Paul says is that if you have grace, then it provokes you to do good things, that the good works come out of your grace. Whereas James is the opposite. James says if you do good things, then grace descends upon you eventually. So which is it? That James is more like the philosophy of karma. That you keep doing good things, and you ultimately rise above the mundane. But here's an important part, and this is also part of Christianity, and part of modern political theory in general. That is, karma, the good works only bring you good karma if you do them with good intentions. Now that's where things get really tricky. So what's a good intention? I do this good work, I feed the poor because I want to be reborn into a better life. Well, that's selfish. I do good works because they are good to do. All right, well, maybe that's better. But is it bad to do good works because you want to be rewarded? Well, there's the question. If I was teaching right now, that would be my discussion question. Okay, class, discuss. If you do good works because you want to feel good, does that nullify the good works? Because you've got your reward already, you feel good. That's one of the endless debates in Christianity, but it's also the debate within Buddhism. Like, why do we do good works? But when you're thinking about popular Buddhism, like what the average person going to the pagoda for Pachumbun is thinking, they're thinking, I need to do good works. Like, and they're not necessarily probing their intentions. They're not saying, I don't know whether this visit to the pagoda was right or not. They do ask, did I actually encounter my dead ancestors? And it's one of the reasons they go to at least 3 pagodas, because they're not always sure where their dead ancestors are. But if they go to 3 pagodas in the neighborhood, they figure, well, they're probably in one of them. I'll find them in one of them, and they'll grant me merit. So that's karma for now. I'll come back to it, but please tell your friends about my videos. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll be back on Friday with more images of Pachumbun. So have a good week.